Folks, welcome home. Another edition of Cooking with Blondes, and today we are making comfort food. We are doing, per request, we're doing meatloaf. So just a real basic classic American meatloaf. We're not going to guss this up with any hot sauce or anything else, though you certainly could. And we're going to even make our own little glaze on top of this. And typically you'd use ketchup. We're making our own ketchup. Woo. So I just took some tomato, these lovely aromas here, and I processed them down. Just simple mulch, and then we've got a little bit of brown sugar in there, just a touch of mustard, a little bit of spice as well, so some basil, some oregano, real simple kind of stuff. But we want to have really that authentic ketchup flavor. Now to make the acid component work, I use both balsamic vinegar and I use a little bit of Asian rice wine vinegar because I want a little complexity going on. It's going to be really fun. That's going to go on top of this lovely meatloaf. Now meatloaf, there's nothing hard about this whatsoever. So I'm going to have Kathleen take about 2 pounds of this. About 2 pounds, Kathleen. Okay. So right about there-ish, right? And just cut right through this guy and pop that out. What I want you to do then is to put it into this bowl. I want you to start gently to mix it. I don't want it to be really hard because what happens then is that the protein just seize up and it gets really tough. We want to keep it as moist as you possibly can. While you're doing that, I'm going to take this lovely French loaf that we have from Shortino's Bakery in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They do a phenomenal job. We let this sit out overnight so it's dry. And I'm just going to take this and get in some smaller size pieces to work with, and then I'm going to put this inside of our food processor. You certainly can feel free to get any store-bought product if you want. What I would not do is take like a Wonder Bread or something like that. But you certainly could if that's what you want to go with. I just like not only the flavor and the texture, I like all sorts of things that go along with this. Interestingly, this has sesame seeds on. That now the FDA is concerned that sesame seeds might be causing an undue amount of allergic reactions with people when they want to limit the amount of sesame seed you can use, which is bizarre in so many levels. But I'm going to go mulch this down. That's looking like a real nice start. So as you got a little more familiarity, Kathleen, doing this stuff with us, I want you to take an onion like this one right here. And what I always say to people is you roll it a little bit first, just like citrus, that breaks up that little bond in the skin. And we'll take 1/2 of this and just kind of knock it around, peel it off, and then go pull to pull. Make sure you got your fingers work back like this, you don't cut the tips off. A little comment on that. The internet is abuzz with selling these little stainless steel things you put on your fingers so you don't cut your fingers. It's bizarre. Just learn how to use the knife the right way. You don't have to play around stuff like that. All right, got it?
Got it.
That's good. Perfect. Now this, and then I want you to take after that 4 garlic cloves, smash them, and cut those down, and that's going to go in there as well.
Cool.
So you're going to use about this much for the meatloaf. Any food processing is fine. And again, you can just buy this in manufactured. If you do that, I get something that's an Italian style breadcrumb. The other thing is that you can use panko as well. And we use panko for a lot of things. Panko, of course, are Japanese breadcrumbs. If you use that, it's much fluffier. At a certain point, this is the kind of dish that I don't think you want fluffiness with. I think the coarseness really works better. But again, whatever you like is the way you should make it. So we're just about there. So we'll save that for another dish. And this is about what we want right here. Here's our size, look at texture. And the other thing I like about doing this yourself is that you don't have just this uniform little crumbly dust that you often will get. I like it to have a little texture, a little component to it that just says it's natural, it's homemade. This is yummy to me. So just hit this with some breadcrumbs, about like that. And then we're going to take 1 egg. Every once in a while you get an egg that has matured a little bit too much. You don't want to have that embryo in there. And the other thing is that you don't want to get, of course, egg shell parts in there. So break in something else, a dish. And if you break it on a flat surface, you have less risk of getting parts in there than if you break it on a sharp corner or something like that. So there is that. So we're going to have a little binder action taking place for the meat. That's going to happen with the egg and, of course, with the bread as well. So please feel free to have your way with that.
Are these small enough for the onions?
I think that's just the right size.
Perfect.
And then I would take some pepper, some fresh pepper. Oh, you're asking about the onion?
Yeah.
No, please, let's take that onion down a little bit further.
Whoops.
The other of these, my apologies. This is part of the fun of the Cooking with Blonde series that we're learning as we're going. And, my whole concept is that anybody, literally anybody, can cook. So it's a bit of that ratatouille concept. Really, if you take a little time to think about what you're doing, it's so much fun. Right, Kathleen?
Yes.
Yeah, so much fun. It's always the attractive one with the knives in their hands. Just be a little careful. All right, so let me, if you don't mind,
Yes.
wait just for a moment here. So I'm just going to take that. And we're just going to go a little further down. The machine doesn't hold the portion. Now, I don't want this to be too fine because then again, you really can't tell it's onion. So you want to take that. And this.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Again, the bench that we're working on is about 120 years old, so there are little divots. And at a certain point, we just can't stand it anymore because it won't be here. So there's that. Now, for a little bit of flavor, I'm going to have just a little bit of oregano. I prefer Greek oregano over Mexican for this dish. So just like that. I want to have a little bit, even though we have fresh garlic in there, I'm going to take some garlic powder as well. I have to do this granulated. And then, if you want to put cinnamon here, you can. You want paprika in here, you can do all those things, and it'll turn lovely. I've got just a little bit of basil now to go in there. And that is just about where we want it to be, except if you want to get some olive oil there. Oh. So, what we normally do with this is we will bake this into a pan that we use for any number of different bread, for different loaves. In this case, because we're here at the restaurant, we're going to do it right in this lovely thing here. So this is a standard stainless steel third pan. Every restaurant in the world has these. You don't have to use this. You want to use a baking dish, by all means, use what you've got. And it doesn't even have to be rectangular. There are times that we do this as an oval or as a round. It doesn't matter. But this part does. So extra virgin olive oil on the inside. If you don't want this to stick. And just like we make lasagna here, which is not often at Shakers because we're really about Caribbean foodstuffs and seafood, every once in a while for a client we will make lasagna and we want it to be multi-layers, so 5 to 7 layers, so I want height. Same thing on this, right? So we're just about the right place with this. How's it look?
Great.
Sure, looks great. All right, so let's get that in here. Don't push it down, just kind of gently. Just like some of the new wines that we have that are biodynamic, and they insist that they don't harshly crush the grapes to get the juice out of them. They gently nestle them together and let's say lullabies or something to get them to talk to each other. Cool. So just a gentle little thingy here, because we do want this to stay together, right? So sometimes you can take something like this as a matter of fact, and just kind of push down gently. Give you a uniform top. Okay?
Lovely.
Cool. And into the oven we go. I recommend something about 350 degrees uncovered. We're a little hotter than that right now, and we're going to leave it there for about 20 minutes or so and see what happens. So we'll catch up on the backside as we then make our glaze, put that on top. You can see that portion in a moment. Stay tuned. See you in a minute. Thank you.